Hello everybody, what a wonderful way to start our drive. Look at that magnificent old bull walking along the road there. There's another one just in front of him. You are of course on a live safari. My name is James Hendry, on camera is Andrew. Sitting on the other vehicle in front of us, which you can probably see there, is Leo Smith, and he's being filmed by the inimitable Tebs. And we are in the presence of two magnificent elephant bulls. I think there may actually be three of them. Very exciting indeed, especially after a particularly quiet morning today. We got the virtual reality rig running, so if I start sounding like I'm not speaking to you, that's probably what I'm speaking to. And remember, we'd love to hear from you. Hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV if you want to talk to us on the email. And just to let you know, flying solo in the final control, Jerry. Hello, Jerry. Look at that bull in the front there. He looks like he's a little bit nervous at this one coming up. Both got magnificent ivory. I just want to not get in the way of this elephant so that he becomes irritated by us. Let's just follow him gently for a little while, and then we'll move off around to the side. It's a wonderful afternoon, about 31 degrees Celsius. If we convert to Fahrenheit, is about 91 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, the other bull has now taken fright. Like the look of our friend here. He's a little bit smaller. Weight-wise, he looks about the same height though. We can't get around them. Lurking behind the bushes here, both of them, and they'll be going to find something nice to eat after their mud bath. You can see they're both covered in mud, and if you've been watching the Djuma Dam cam, you will know that they have been feeding on the mud. Just incredible how a 6-ton elephant bull like that can completely disappear. Some impala off to the right hand side there. Just try and get around here. One little one. And Carol on Twitter, you're absolutely right. Oh, there they come through the bush. Isn't he magnificent? Carol, you say that water looks a bit dirty for these elephants. Absolutely, it does look a bit dirty. It is a bit dirty. And I suspect you'll find that the elephants didn't eat, at least didn't drink any of the water. Rather, they probably just sprayed the mud all over themselves. They may have gone to the Gowrie Dam for a bit of a drink. Gowrie water, at least Gallagher waterhole. But at the moment, they're probably, it's not that hot today. We're just getting past them now. On the right hand side, beautiful bull, we know him, he's got a broken tusk. That one's not too happy. Fiona, you're in the United Kingdom and you're obviously a regular watcher. You want to know if the water in the Djuma Dam has gone down, or in that Djuma pan. You seem to think that it has gone down and they're perhaps not pumping it. They will pump it periodically. It's not all the time, and I know the pump has been broken, and so that's why, first of all, Leo Smith looks a bit dishevelled, because it's the same the pump that feeds the house where he lives. So, give him my sympathies when you see him. We did hear the pump on, actually, as we went past very recently, about 10 minutes ago. So I think that's been fixed. So I'm sure water will start to be pumped. Big drainage line down to the left-hand side. Up above us, a big Warburg's eagle's nest. Where this elephant fellow, isn't he? Just walking across in front of us. Let's go here. There's another one. There's a third one through there. Very thick in there. So I'm not going to go chasing in there after them. This is the thing with these mature bulls. They just generally tend not to be particularly interested in us. They just get on with it until they get irritated. They lose that curiosity that some of the young bulls have. Let's go back a bit and see if we can't. Another view. Paul on Twitter, you say you can almost hear the ground shaking when the elephant bull walks. Paul, it's very much an impression you're getting because they are actually almost completely silent when they walk. It's astonishing that an animal of that mass is able to move so quietly. I don't know that they're going to go all the way through this bush. I think we might have to follow them through there. Exactly what direction they're going in. There they are. Let's go, we'll try and go around a bit. But I don't want to go blasting in there unless I have to. Get that in. Seem to be moving up there towards perhaps quarantine. There they go. Let's try and get round in front of them. And of course we must be careful. These are mature elephant bulls. We keep our space, we read their body language, try and figure out how they're feeling. At the moment they seem to be feeling okay. They don't seem to be threatened by us at all, and that's of course how you want it to remain. With a 6-ton elephant bull, they've made such a mess in this block that getting up into it is going to prove quite difficult. Go up through here and see if we can get in. Right, hold on everyone, here we go. Put your head here, Andrew. Ziziphus mucronata. Oh, there. And nasty, nasty thorns. Up through here. Wonderful, it sounds like we've got a new viewer in Prabul, I think it is your name. Prabul, you want to know about the animals here and are they habituated to the vehicles? They are to a certain extent, Prabul, and the ones that we see regularly. Not so much to our voice, I wouldn't say. We also have to be relatively quiet around some of them. But yes, definitely to the vehicles and to our presence, they're relatively habituated. I'm not sure if we're going to get through here. There's a lovely crest full of marula trees on the top there. Watch out there, Andrew. And I think that's where they're heading. Of course, it is easier for them to move through here than it is us, even though we weigh about a third of what they do. With a virtual reality rig running on the front, of course, and so you can imagine what this must feel like. Imagine you're sitting on the front of the car there, and you can turn around, look above you, look to the side of the bushes that are sort of attacking us as we drive along. Look through the trees there to see if you can see the elephant. You can look around at me to see how terrified I am. from William on Twitter as we drive through this strychnos or black monkey thorn thicket. William, you want to know about which animals are the most curious around the vehicles. William, the most curious are probably, you say elephants and hyenas come to mind. Young animals are often curious, so you'll find young elephants, absolutely, young hyenas, absolutely. Big elephant bulls like this, they're not curious at all, they just want you to stay out of their way. And sometimes they will come and have a little bit of an interaction, but normally not. And then the most obvious one that comes to mind is a giraffe. Giraffe are tremendously curious about that. This rock is fairly huge. Andrew, any idea where the elephants are? Yeah. They were heading in this direction, but they may have turned and gone, of course, straight towards quarantine clearings. Have a look and see. We'll eventually get across this block. So this kind of bush we're driving through is called black monkey orange thicket, and it is a bush encroacher species. That means that it shouldn't really be here. It's here as a function of probably too little elephant activity and too much in the way of grazing activity, which favors this sort of bush, especially after a very dry year. We had a dry year last year. I don't know where these chaps have gone. Amazing how easily 18 tons of elephant can hide. They're gone. Let's keep driving through here and see what we can pick up. I think we should probably head across to Nat.Geo Smith, see what he's doing while we try and get out of this. That's an elephant there, Andrew, I think. And there's a tree. Is it a tree? It looks like a trunk. It's a very immobile trunk, but therefore a tree. Okay, let's head across to Brent. I'll keep you posted on these elephants. We'll try and find them. See you shortly.
Welcome on the Sunset Safari. What a wonderful way to start with James and those magnificent big Eddie bulls. My name is Nat.Geo Smith. I have Tebs on camera with me, and welcome to Safari Live. So while James tries to reposition to find those beautiful big Eddies again, I'm checking around this area where we had leopard audio this morning, and I'm hoping to find a footprint or 3, or even better, a spotted feline or 4. But hopefully they will come through. We've had a little bit of a slow patch with the lions and leopards over the last while, particularly the lions, but you never know what could have happened during the day, and that can change in just an instant. Very warm today, so we're going to be checking in the deep shade for any signs of cats. I'm not going to be lying out in the open, so hopefully Tebs has got his leopard spotting eyes on. dry creek bed here. Ideal spot for a leopard to spend the hot hours of the day. No such luck here. We're right up in the northern boundary. I'm going to head up a little bit further and then head back south again, just crisscrossing this area looking for any sign of leopard tracks. A few of those biting flies and stingless bees, so I'm just going to go a little bit faster to get rid of them quickly. Oh, or we can slow down and look at some zebra. There we go. Oh, that's not going to work. I was trying to be very clever. It is really blisteringly hot, so I was trying to find a little spot of shade for Tebs and myself. And there we go, the female zebra. Quite windy this evening. There we go, a zebra mare, busy feeding. And they're going to have to start putting in bigger distances between food and water shortly. You see that bulk grazers, they don't really mind about what the grass they eat. It's not like a wildebeest that's very finicky and will pick between grass species. You can see how they just munch away. So there's a zebra black with white stripes or white with black stripes. I say it depends on the zebra. I have to ask him, or her in this case. And no zebra has the exact same coat as the other. They all each have individual patterns. You can see that zebra's mane is standing erect, and zebras being high in the gut fermenters often look fat even when they're in bad condition. And one of the signs of a zebra being in really bad condition is if that mane starts folding down. So this one's still very healthy. Now, the fact that it's feeding out in the open in this heat means that they are obviously quite pressed to find enough food. And we'll leave the zebra to its afternoon snacking and see what else we can find. A very hot and sweaty safari welcome to D Chef on Twitter. D Chef would like to know a little bit about Gabon vipers from my time in the Central African Republic. Quite often incorrectly referred to as Gaboon vipers. The name is actually a Gabon viper. So they're incredible snakes. Saw a couple of really big fat females. I mean, some of them will weigh 30 to 45 kilos, so 100 pounds of snake. Very big, very fat, very beautiful, exquisite coloring. And in Gabon, in the forestry industry, they're often called, I can't remember the exact French saying, but the three-step snake. It basically means that they're very docile snakes, and you want to really irritate them to bite you. And it's referred to as a three-step snake because it's the third person who steps on them is the person who gets bitten by them. Obviously, they do have a very, very strong cytotoxin, but relatively harmless to man, with an incredibly loud hiss that tries to warn you. Very strange. One would think in the snake book under viper you would have it. Maybe it's accidentally under adders. Or Gabon viper or Gabon adder, depending on where you are in the world. There's some more zebras crossing the road in front of us. An incredibly beautiful snake, very rare in southern Africa, only occurring right in the northern coastline of Natal, eastern highlands of Mozambique, and of.
Oh,
That's very loud. Peg is very loud. You can just see what a beautiful snake it is. Very pretty snake. And even though they don't get that long, they get very, very heavy and very, very fat and thick. Oh, I have an update. I know where we're going looking. Oh, but before we do that, there's a little fluffy zebra foal. Hiding behind the bush there.
I think we saw this group of zebra with James this morning. We noticed how one foal looks very, very brown. And we were wondering...
Oh, it's got a little bit of a limp. Definitely hurt its foot at some point, and that's not very good if you're a young zebra. First, the disadvantage is in the fact that you are young, not as fast as the adults, and secondly, smaller, an adult zebra can be quite a task, kicks and bites, but a little one would be a bit more of a acceptable challenge, even to something like a male leopard. You can see, not really standing on its back left. Hopefully not too serious an injury. Of a male leopard somewhere in this area, and hopefully we will find some tracks shortly. While we do that, Jonathan in Philadelphia is wondering why zebras are more brown towards their rump. Jonathan, what you're referring to there is the shadow stripe, and it is an aid in sort of camouflage. You wouldn't believe how well camouflage. Oh, that's really bad news. Jonathan, I'll be back with you in a second. Whatever leopard was calling here has left during the day. There are hyena tracks there as well, but there is also a female leopard track. And have a look if I can see a nice one for you guys. Okay, there. Okay, let's have a look. So from that bendy plant, there we go. Come across. So they're very difficult to see in the bright light. There it is, a female leopard. Crossing into our northern neighbor. So I'm going to leave this area now. I'm pretty sure that would have been the leopard that was heard calling and causing all the havoc. Having driven and checked this road this very morning and not seeing that track is very fresh. Well, definitely between the two drives. Let me just update James. And Gonzo of Wansati Ingwe crossing north at the opposite side. So just letting all the other game drivers know, the guys who can operate to the north of us, they can go have a look, see if they can find whichever leopard it might be.
Going north of the Gari driveway, which you may have heard. Look track. Now going south. Going on Shibam Road. Let's look at that.
Copy that. I drove Shibam this morning. I didn't see any trucks.
Okay, copy that.
So there's a report of Karula coming in from the southern side of Djuma. Now that makes me wonder, she was actually physically seen by the game drive vehicles to the south of us. But then who could this female up here in the north be? Could it be Shiluva? Who knows? Only time will tell. Could we have a new female leopard sneaking into the Queen's territory? So, Jonathan was wondering about the back end of a zebra being quite brown. I'm wondering if it was sunburn. Not at all, Jonathan, it's a shadow stripe. So there's a couple of different reasons zebras have their stripes. Firstly, when they are chased by predators, it causes quite a lot of confusion, all that black and white running around. With that brown adds another layer. And also, it is a sort of displacement of heat a little bit. It helps a lot with the controlling of heat in their body. To a new video viewer all the way from India. Prabhu, welcome to Safari Live. Prabhu would like to know what kind of snakes live in this dry land. Well, Prabhu, we have a couple of species of cobras. Two species of cobras commonly: black mambas, pythons, puff adders, berg adders, egg eaters, centipede eaters, blind snakes, beak snakes, stiletto snakes, tree snakes, bush snakes, water snakes. I can keep going for a while. Let's just say a lot of snakes, probably. Mole snakes, thread snakes. See if I can get through any more of them. Suggests that those tracks might be from Kwatila. We haven't seen it in a while. Laura, would be very unlikely that they're more than likely from Shiluva or an unknown female from Manyele in this part of the Kwatili's territory of Arathusa, so quite a long way away from the area we're working in at the moment. to see what Commander Bond's been up to. I hear he might have some leopard tracks.
Hello everybody. I'm not looking at you not because I am embarrassed, but because I am staring at the floor, hoping to find tracks of Karula. Now, that recalcitrant, very sort of spirit-like leopard was seen just down this road apparently earlier this morning, about 9 o'clock. Then we came along here and we found some tracks, but coming this way. They didn't look that fresh to me, but Brent did drive that road today, and I think he was looking very carefully, so I don't know what's going on. It's also impossible to tell. So we're just going to drive along here, see if we can't pick up some of the tracks coming back across this road. This is our southern boundary, so I can't just go bungling down this road here. So I will look very carefully on the road. See what we can spot. Tracks here. Let's go a little bit further forward, and the soft sand on the side of the road is quite nice for tracking. No tracks. Let us keep driving very slowly along here and looking all about the place. She might of course be sitting in a tree with a little baby impala or something. I have found myself driving straight underneath a leopard before while staring intently at the ground. Southern boundary, which means that we are heading due east now, which is completely against the plan that I had, which was to try and go to Arathusa to the far west. That's that way. But let's just see if these tracks come across the road. If they don't, then I think that we will continue with our original plan. There's a quarry here, a little quarry that the leopards often walk through. Why? Well, certainly the last time Karula came into Djuma, she came into this quarry. So I wonder if she isn't going to do the same thing. And I see no tracks. I don't think there's nothing coming across here, Andrew. Now, a leopard's track, for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure most of you do, it looks like a large house cat's track, basically. So if you want to know what it looks like, grab your house cat, take it outside, make a scuffle in the flower bed, plant its foot in it, have a look, multiply it by about 5, and you'll get the idea of what a cat looks like. A leopard's track looks like. Multiplied by 10 if you want a lion. Otherwise, very, very similar. Right, well, there she is going into there. So I'm just going to get Andrew to show you these while... Can you see them there, Andrew? There's the leopard track going into Little Gowrie. And And that's the property to the south of us. Kat, you're on Twitter, and while we're going along here trying to find tracks of this recalcitrant leopard, you want to know about those elephants. And I think your question was, do they take the bark off trees? Definitely. They love tree bark, especially when there's no grass to eat. And in the wintertime, they will eat a lot of tree bark. They stick those great tusks into the side of a knobthorn tree. They grab the bark and they tear off great strips of it. And that, of course, is not good for the tree at all. Now, I thought that Brent had tracks of a female going out of our property yesterday. And I suspect that's what these are. Have a look up there, Andrew. There are a whole lot of vultures. A whole lot of circling vultures. And it is the most peaceful thing in the world to watch a deep blue African summer sky with some vultures flying in it. And often when people see that, of course, they think that there must be death nearby. But if you watch them carefully, they're not coming down. They've all found the thermal, and they're using that thermal to gain height. Isn't that beautiful? And then Andrew, I don't know if you could quickly get that one up there. There's a batalier there, and it's flying with the wind, and it's very high up for a batalier. It's too far.
Too high,
yeah. Sorry about that. Anyway, I think we're going to drive another up to the next telegraph pole. Let's check if there's a track there, and if there isn't, we're going to turn on and go back to Arathusa. Now, Christina, you obviously noticed that big bull had broken his tusk. He broke the left-hand tusk, and you want to know if that would have been painful. Christina, if somebody, or let's say you had an accident and you broke your front tooth, that's basically what it would feel like for the elephant. It's the same tooth, and I think it would hurt a lot. And there's an enormous nerve that goes down into the middle of that tusk, and it would definitely hurt to kind of snap the tusk off. Very unpleasant indeed, I think. Right, one more telegraph pole. Observant question from Shell in Detroit. You were watching obviously earlier before we went live on the Djuma Dam cam, and you noticed that one of those bulls kept hanging his foot up in the air. It's a classic kind of elephant displacement behavior. It's when they're feeling socially awkward, when they don't really know how to react to a situation, that's what they do, while they're considering their next move. So it's a little bit like if you're at a tracks of a male going out. It's not very good either. It's a little bit like if you are at a party and the whole lot of people you don't know and you're feeling a bit socially awkward, so you kind of wring your hands together, or you play with the hem of your shirt or your jacket, or you straighten your tie. Well, Shell, you probably don't wear too many ties, but that sort of thing. And that's exactly what it is. Now, if you watch them carefully, that's what it looks like. It looks like they're feeling socially awkward, and it's called displacement behavior. And they do it around us quite a lot as well. And I guess those bulls probably didn't really know how to respond to each other. They were probably having a little bit of an argument. Somebody said something socially awkward and lifted the foot up and was playing around. I'm missing your question here. I'm going to ask for it again. The Game Drive radio is incredibly powerful. I'm so confused. Sorry, Jerry, you're going to have to do that again. Sorry, Razos, you wanted to know what kind of bird was flying up with the vultures? Razos, it was a bateleur, and they normally fly much lower down than that. And they don't need the thermals, they don't have the same drag because they've got a very short tail, so they can fly lower down. And that was a very high up one. I very seldom see them that high up in the sky, mixing it up with the vultures. Who've now disappeared. What was that? I don't know, but it wasn't coming this way. I think we can probably safely say there's another one there coming out. Could have been a hyena. Please excuse my not looking at you, everybody, but I just need to check the road for tracks. Nice question. When we're tracking, obviously you want to know if you can identify a particular leopard from a specific track. Now, some people will tell you they can. I can't. I think it's the way we know who's who is that the female leopard tracks within Karula's territory. You can be 90% sure that they're Karula's, and then you can probably tell the difference between, say, the Anderson male's tracks or Tingana's tracks, mainly because the Andersons will be that much bigger. But you'd have to get pretty used to tracking them in order to tell the difference. And the reason for that is, of course, in every substrate, be it soft, dusty sand or thick kind of river sand or stony ground, the track is going to be a different size. So you really need quite a lot of experience in order to be able to do it. Some people will tell you straight on sight that they know whose tracks that is. I'm always a little suspicious when people say that. Nice question, thank you, Carla. Alright, we're going to can this malarkey. I don't think she's come back across this way. There were tracks going that way, and I think that was the end of that. So I'm just going to call that in on the game drive, and then we'll hie our way across to Arathusa. No tracks coming north across Gari Main from the Gari driveway. There are tracks coming already going south into the Gari area now. One must, of course, keep watching where you're going. Now, one can't just sort of drive willy-nilly. Okay, let's head back to Nat.Geo Smith, see what he's got to show you, and I'll see you shortly.
In the fork. So, welcome back. We've got some white crowned shrikes hopping around in the Pelter Forum. And let's get there, we'll get in there. There we go. You can just see them in the shade there. Just to the left of a shot. You can hear them squawking as well. There's a couple of, it looks like a pair there. So come back down to the left, Tebs. Zoom there. And up a little bit. Zoom. There we go. There he is. Little white crowned shrike. Very noisy birds. You can see that hooked predatory bull. Great hunter of insects and other things. Oh, was that an attempt of, to catch something, or was that just a slip of the foot? think he actually caught something there, a little insect. Yep. I thought he was just being clumsy. He was actually being very dexterous. So there's one for the bird lists. If those of you who haven't added a white crown shrike yet, there he is, cleaning his bill after his little snack, keeping in the shade on this beastly hot afternoon. Leave them there. You can see the other one's tail just at the back behind the branch on the right, having a fat afternoon chat. Well, let's leave them to chat away. Oh, very big. Oh, another one arrived. Yeah, we'll leave them to chat away, and let's go see what else we can find out there. On Twitter is wondering what animals do these high temperatures affect the most. Normally your predators, they are far less active in this hot weather. They'll sleep in the shade and not want to move too much. Blue sky, hardly, I think I can see a couple of tiny little clouds, but other than that, clear, very, very clear. No sign of storms on the horizon, so it looks like this drought is set to continue for now. Make sure you drink a lot of water in this weather. Don't want to get dehydrated. Lots of sun cream. Keep your hats on. So James Taylor on Twitter would like to know whether the white crowned shrike and the white crested helmet shrike are the same bird. They're not, they just have similar names. They're actually quite distinctly different when you have a look at them. The shrike. Stork, starling, spurfowl, spoon, spoonbill, spinetail. And there we go, the southern white crowned shrike, which is the one we've just been looking at. Number 4. That's that one, and you can see a very black eye, quite a bit bigger than the white helmet shrikes. White crested helmet shrikes, there they are. You can see that very distinct yellow eye. Definitely not as a robust bird, this one here. So similar names, but not similar at all. Have a look around the treehouse waterhole where that natural seep is that the elephants have dug. Maybe there might be something around there. And then I think I'm going to try guess with those 3 big Eddie bulls that James saw earlier. We're at the Djuma. Sorry, I'm missing the road. I'm watching a bird. I was hoping it was going to land, but it hasn't. There's a purple roller. But I'm going to try guess with those 3 big Eddie bulls might pop out. Not the most relaxed in this windy weather. They could have also come a long way with all the water holes being closed in there. And or not closed, or bone dry in the Western Kruger National Park. A lot of animals could be coming our way over the next few months. Jan in Michigan. Big welcome on Safari Live today, Jan. Jan says shrikes in the US are often known as butcher birds because they tend to impale insects and other things on thorns or on barbed wire. Some of ours do. The fiscal shrike, which we don't actually get in this area, is called either a butcher bird or a Jackie Hangman, after the old English name for the man who pulled the lever at the hangman's noose. But they do sometimes. The shrike that we get here that does do it most often is a little redback shrike, and I'll see if we can find one of those today. Oriole. There we go. Let's get a safety from this distance here. So the top of that marula tree at the back. Okay, up a little bit there. Right in the right tree. Yes, that's good. Just come off a little bit. Down a little bit. A little bit to the right slightly. Keep coming. Which are you in this tree? Come out. Ah, there's the. That this way. I'm sorry, a bit confusing. There we go. We go in here and in there. Sorry, we are confused about the tree for a second there. And there's a black-headed oriole. And we have 3 species of oriole that can occur here. The black-headed being the resident one that's here all the time. And the others are the African golden oriole and the European golden oriole, which are migrants. So they look very, very similar to that, except they lack that very distinctive black head. There you go, doing a look at the preening. Very pretty birds and very vocal. We hear them calling a lot of the time. So we're going to jump across to James quickly, who's got a porky pig.
Pig. There is a warthog, everybody, and it is just grazing on a few of these sort of forbs or herbaceous plants that are growing on the fringes of the Arathusa International Airport. I'm just checking carefully left to right for Boeing 747s or Dreamliners. I am, of course, joking. The last time I said, or the first time I described this as the Arathusa International Airstrip, there was an environmental outcry from our viewers who thought that there were about to be great Airbus A380s landing in the middle of the Kruger Park. Fear not, that is not the case. It's just for small planes, and they had just redone the surface. So here is a warthog, and unlike most of the Djuma warthogs, he's actually standing still, which is quite nice. And I'm just trying to see what he's eating. They're normally grazers, but there doesn't seem to be much grass. And that is going to be a situation that persists, I suspect, for much of the summer. And that's actually a sow, it's not a boar, I think. And not in excellent condition, not too bad, just looking a bit skinny. See the shoulders showing, the hips showing slightly. Great enthusiasm. I think there is grass growing there, and I think it's growing there because of the runoff. A little bit of water that was on the airstrip has now run off into that sort of fringing apron area, and I think that's what she's very cleverly found herself to eat. And a bit of a breeze blowing in from the south. We've had some very pleasant weather in the last few days. It hasn't been too hot at all. That heat-sapping strength, but we really are now starting to need water.
Sorry about
that. That is the game drive radio at Arathusa that clearly that warthog found very distasteful indeed. So distasteful that she seems to be voiding her bowels. Anyway, there she goes. So we've come on to Arathusa, obviously, we're at the airstrip, otherwise we wouldn't be here. And we're going to head west as soon as we can get round the southern end of the airstrip. And there were reports, like I said, of the Anderson male in that region today. From this morning. I've never seen that magnificent beast before. Brent's got some wonderful photographs of him, and I'm quite looking forward and hoping desperately to see the Anderson male, apparently the largest male leopard in history. Not quite, but certainly the biggest that anyone's seen around here for some time. So let's hope, cross our thumbs, cross our fingers, hold our thumbs. That means the same thing. I had a question about that the other day. Andrew, have you seen the Anderson male? Negative. Right. Good. Be a nice surprise for both of us then. There is a howling gale, as I say. Suddenly got very strong. And unusually today, there doesn't seem to be any kind of cloud build-up towards the mountains, which I think is a bit strange. Well, not strange, it just hasn't happened. You know, the last few, sort of 5 or 6 days, there's been a nice build-up over the mountains. But now just a force 10 gale coming from the south. Hello Rose, you're in Harrisburg. I don't know where Harrisburg is, sounds like a nice small town to live in. Rose, you want to know why they crawl on their knees to eat? Rose, it's because they don't only eat grass, warthogs, they eat the roots and the kind of the rhizomes, which are the underground stems of the grass plants, and so they get onto their knees so that they can get right up underneath there, and sometimes they'll dig with their snouts as well and pull out the rhizomes and the roots of the grasses that they eat. So that's why they're on their knees, Rose. Nice question. That I'm not sure I can answer from Victor, age 9 in Atlanta. Victor, you want to know how much a warthog eats every day. Victor, a big boar weighs about 100 kilograms, and I'm going to say that they probably eat therefore about probably up to 10 kilograms. Oh, guinea fowl, sorry, why I was thinking. I became overwhelmed by thought. My eyes just there are some guinea fowl. So Victor, I'm going to say about 10 kilos, so about 22 pounds of food a day. More than you, Victor. Beautiful guinea fowl here. One of my favorites. They always have a slightly surprised look on their faces. We appear to be trespassing. Never mind. So that is the helmeted guinea fowl, which we don't find here, at least which we do find here very commonly. There's also another one called the crested guinea fowl, which looks totally ridiculous. Looks like it's wearing some kind of ancient Papua New Guinean helmet. Strange feathers sticking out the top of its head. Not that the helmeted guinea fowl doesn't look slightly ridiculous with that helmet sticking out of its head. We get lots of questions about what they taste like and whether they're good to eat. Some people think that they're good to eat, but then again, you know, there are cultures around the world that eat rotting puffins as a delicacy. I think that they're pretty stringy and bland and not much to recommend them edible-wise. But they're very beautiful. And very fast, unusually fast on their feet. Much faster than you or I. I think they're faster than Brent, Andrew.
Marginally.
Marginally. Alright, I don't want to dally here for too long. Let's carry on towards where the leopard was last seen. I have a feeling Mr. Anderson and I are going to be great friends. There's a tiny, tiny little baby monkey there. Oh, that's so sweet. 2 little baby monkeys. 2 mothers with their little babies. Look. That little thing, isn't that sweet? As Jerry says, such a cute little monkey face, absolutely. Do you think that's a bird, Andrew, or one of the monkeys?
A red bird.
Very. Now this is a knobthorn tree, and I mean I'm a tree climber. I like to climb trees, but I wouldn't climb a knobthorn tree. It would tear my hands to pieces. And the monkeys just don't have that problem. This is fantastic. Looking up into the tree at one of them. Oh, okay. So one of them has just picked a pod. You see that one there, Andrew, straight above us. Just picked a pod to eat. So I think that's why they're sitting in this tree. They're eating the old seed pods. I just want you to understand the extent of the thorns in this tree. There's no ways you or I would be able to sit where that monkey is sitting now, straight above us. You'd tear your hands to pieces.
Camera phone, just can't get there.
Sorry, we can't get quite up there. Let me, instead of sitting here being a lazy lump, let me just move that so that Andrew doesn't have to break his axis axle joint. There we go, good enough. That really is quite astonishing. I mean, it looks like it's sitting in a very comfortable little tree, but really not. Wonderful afternoon. So there it peeps at us through the foliage. And I tell you what, I'm going to stop. The next time I see it decent size, or one at the right level, I'll show you the thorns that that monkey is sitting on and holding and moving its hands amongst. Oh, Andrew, I think we might have some action at the international airstrip here. Seems to be a plane landing, or just going over. I think it might be going to Cheetah Plains. That, of course, is quite the most romantic way to come into the bush. Very out of Africa-esque, without the blasting wind and Robert Redford, of course. Or Meryl Streep. Right, on we go. Hello, Gavin. You're just 8 years old, and you want to know what my favourite bird is, because your favourite bird is guinea fowl. That plane is going to land here, you know. Gavin, my favourite bird is called the white-browed scrub robin, and it's a very beautiful little bird that has a lovely voice, beautiful songs, and that's why I really think it's my favourite. I also like the batalier very much, and I like guinea fowl too. Here comes the plane, Andrew. Are you ready? The absence of a leopard, let's watch the plane land. This guy's okay. Bumpy road, sorry everybody. I just wanted to get a nice picture of this thing coming down here. Quite fun. I always love watching planes land and take off. Let's throw that to my childhood. Here we go, I'll stop here. Got him, Andrew. Here it comes. Coming into land. Geraldine, of course, is not as enthusiastic about aeroplanes as Andrew and I. She says this doesn't count as a sighting. I think this is fascinating. I'm sorry we're not closer to the touchdown area. Still, there you go. Looks like it's plummeting out of the sky. I should have kept going, perhaps. It landed on almost no tarmac at all, and I'm sure it'll turn around even before it gets to us. Such a fun way to come into the bush. I'd have to go all the way to the end to turn around. I hope the pilot knows that he's on camera. Such fun to come in on a plane. Right, let us carry on. driving along here, and the plane is turning around, of course. Here we are at the little Arathusa airstrip pan. Everything is taking fright because the aeroplane is turning around, making a great noise. It's going to come back this way, so let's just keep going along. There's birds. They're just Senegal lapwings. I think they're just Senegal lapwings. James Taylor, you want to know who's coming in on that plane? It'll be a guest. So the guests come in the planes. Sometimes the staff come in. If there's a plane coming in, I'm sure they catch a staff-rated plane. And then supplies will be brought in by road. We're not far from the nearest town. There's a place called Acorn Hook, not too far from here, and then a larger town called Hoedspruit, which is not very large, and then a larger town than that called Nelspruit, which is way down in the south. That's quite a long way from here. It takes about 4 hours to get there. In Botswana, however, where Brent sort of cut his teeth in the safari business, where he was born, around Mombo, they do have to fly everything in. The staff, the supplies, the guests, everybody has to fly in. Can't drive there because of the swamps. I'm just going to check my map here to make sure we're not going off-piste, as it were. Been known to trespass by mistake every so often. No, we're okay. It's this junction where if you turn left, you end up trespassing. Grasshopper trying to contact a long-lost friend. Isn't it cool? So my map is on this phone, everybody, that's why the phone's out. And the grasshopper saw the phone, and I think it's trying to dial a number. Very sad story. Off it goes. Right, on we go. I'm getting a whole lot of updates on the Game Drive channel. People disappearing off Arathusa to go east towards Chitwa and the like. Rachel, a very nice question, and we're going to disappoint you slightly, but not too much. You were looking through a bird app, and you found something called the African finfoot, which is a beautiful bird, and you want to know if it is found in Arathusa or Djuma. No, it isn't. There's simply not enough water. They like permanent river water mainly, but they're in the Sand River down below, about 4 kilometers to the south of where we sit now, 7 kilometers, and you could definitely find finfoot, and I've seen them there, and you also find them all over sort of the permanent rivers like the Zambezi, possibly in parts of the Limpopo, but not here. We don't have any rivers that run, so no finfoot around Arathusa or Djuma, especially not in the drought. Right, now this leopard was last seen around sort of this vaguish region this morning, so keep an eye out from this point onwards. If you see an enormous spotted cat with a golden pelage, that's probably him. So we'll drive very slowly to see if we can't see some tracks. done Brent. Brent has managed to find the elephants that we started with a bit earlier. It's good news. Let's head across to him and we'll keep looking for this leopard. See you shortly.
So we decided to play catch up with some of those big head bulls, and we found them, and we found one. I can hear the others. Oh, I can see another one now just ahead of us, just coming through this deep drainage system, and they're looking a little bit more relaxed than they were earlier, so we're going to see if we can get a little bit closer to them. Such magnificent animals, these big ellie bulls. I think he's going to move out into the open, so we're going to try get a fair head of him. There we go, you can see they're quite a bit more relaxed than they were a bit earlier. They're coming right up to us at the moment. Hello, big boy. What you doing? So he's going to go right next to Tebs. He's stopping right next to Tebs on the back of the vehicle there. Oh, isn't this magnificent? Massive elephant, probably weighing around 6,000 kilograms or 6 tons. And the other one is just behind this bush here. Sneak a little bit forward, or maybe he might come towards us. So I've only seen 2 of the 3 we saw earlier. Here we go, he's popping his head out. He was the less relaxed of the 2 bulls. And you can already see that in his body language, slightly raising his ears, letting us know he's there. But look at those beautiful, very even tusks. They're not quite as calm and collected as the other bull, but nevertheless also a bit physically smaller, even though he's got bigger tusks. Maybe a bit younger as well. And there was a 3rd bull that was much smaller than the other 2. I'm not sure where he is. Ah, there he is, right up the back. Well spotted. Well, let's go. Oh, look. Giving that halter forum a good pushing. Oh, my, listen to that. And timber. Reminds me of the Monty Python song, I'm a Lumberjack. And I think the lumberjacks have got very little on an African elephant when he decides he wants to push something over. Down the main stem of that weeping wattle. Hello, big boy. So very important not to drive directly at an animal. You always drive away sort of at an oblique angle, and that's less threatening to them. So incredible power. And we didn't have Ellies for 3 drives in a row, and I was really starting to miss them. And I do love these big bulls, so I'm very excited that they're back. So just letting them get used to the sound of my voice, and that we're close and we're not posing any threat. Look at that, isn't that absolutely stunning? Using that incredibly dexterous trunk to strip leaves from that unfortunate weeping wattle. Now that he's a little bit more relaxed and he's heard us again, I'm just going to let the engine run a little bit and just try and move a little bit further forward so you don't have that small bush in the way. There we go. That's what we want. Incredible strength. Also, you could get to those nice tender shoots on the top. So it looks like that's all he wanted from there. Look at that, off he moves. Slow amble. Definitely one of the creatures that I can spend hours upon hours with, these big yelly bulls. Let's move around the head again. So again, very important to get around the front of them and not to drive straight at them or straight behind them, because even though they are gentle, they are so huge and so incredibly powerful that you don't want to annoy them at all, and I just love being able to spend so much time with them. So hyena tracks. So we just want to get up ahead. There's some nice open ground. Hopefully he pushes down another tree. See them moving there. There we go. There's some nice open ground. I can hear a tree going. There we go. He got hold of an acacia on the other side of that quarry.
Karen in London. Your elephant bulls must do more damage than usual. Karen in London.
So Karen, our Zimbo in London, wonders, do elephant bulls in must do more damage than usual? Oh, we've got that other bull right next to us here. The one who's not so calm and relaxed. Karen, not at all. They generally feed about the same. The other thing is that what a lot of people consider elephant damage is not actually damage. It's very, very important. If there weren't elephants, and it's happened in a lot of areas, or not a healthy elephant population, the bush becomes very thick, and that removes the grass, which stops all the grazing species like zebra and wildebeest and buffalo having access to good food. So specifically now, in the time of drought, we've gone through 7 very wet years, and the Sabi Sands is probably the thickest it's been in quite a while. So now we're going into a dry period, which again is not a bad thing. A lot of people sometimes do worry, and we are going to have animals dying in that, but that is how nature maintains itself. Let's see if this guy's relaxed down a little bit. Hello, big boy. He's on the move already. So, Karen, I wouldn't call it elephant damage, rather I like to call it elephant activity. And remember, an elephant pushes down a tree, it creates a whole bunch of opportunities now for other animals like kudu and inyala to feed off that, and as well as a whole host of insects. I mean, all the borers now have some meals to have, so it's very important, and it's all interlinked. As you can see, a lot of trees that get pushed down like this one continue growing, just at a different angle. Beth, as I just mentioned, that inyala and kudu will feed off the trees that the elephants have pushed down as well. They probably won't eat all of it, and it'll never go to waste out here, because insects will feed off it, borer beetles, and that'll attract birds, so it can form a whole separate little ecosystem in itself. He's definitely the biggest out of the 3 bulls, and it's not uncommon to have different aged elephant bulls together. Good afternoon to Debbie in Vancouver. Debbie would like to know, do elephant bulls maintain any connection with their natal herd? They do not, Debbie. They move away, and even with the breeding herds that they see on a regular basis, they will just be around the breeding herds. Generally, when they're mating, they might cross paths with them occasionally, but they prefer to either stay in little bachelor groups, oh, there we go, look at that, or meander around on their own. Excuse me, I was going to put a bit more sun cream on. look at that. You can see the prehensile tip to the trunk there, and the African elephant's prehensile tip differs from the Asian elephant, and the fact that it's got two, one on either side, whereas the Asian elephant's only got a single tip. Actually even hear them crunching through that little acacia branch. They're busy feeding off a red thorn or Acacia gerardi.